Imagine discovering a massive army of life-sized fighters, each with a distinct face, who had been buried for more than 2 millennia. Greetings from the amazing world of the Terracotta Army of China. Hi there, lovers of history! We're going to explore the Terracotta Army, one of the most amazing archaeological finds of the 20th century. These statues, which may be found in the center of China, are said to be guardians of ancient secrets. Let us investigate the mysteries of these amazing clay troops. In Shanxi Province, China, in the Lintong district, close to Xi'an, the trip into the past starts in March 1974. Drilling a well for water, a group of farmers discovered something amazing: pieces of a life-sized clay figure. They had just discovered a small portion of one of the most significant archaeological discoveries of the 20th century. Little did they realize, after informing the local authorities, archaeologists promptly reached the location. They found an entire army made of clay after excavating not one, but 3 enormous trenches. Buried since the 3rd century BC, this underground legion was a component of Emperor Qin Shi Huang's ornate museum. More than 6,000 troops and horses were arranged in battle formation in the largest pit. Pit 2 displayed the Qin army's military prowess with its war chariots, archers, and cavalry. Pit 3, which was thought to be the command post, held a war chariot and senior officers. This discovery was unique in its scope, with mud walls dividing the corridors and timber ceilings supported by enormous beams. Each pit was a masterpiece of ancient engineering. Workshops were used to manufacture the soldiers and horses, which were then assembled and painted on location. The excavation was done with great care. The delicate clay soldiers, many of which had been harmed or shattered over the ages, presented a fresh difficulty for the archaeologists when they dug out the figures. By gradually reassembling the pieces using cutting-edge restoration processes, the army is gradually returning to its former splendor. We must go back in time to the era of Emperor Qin Shi Huang, the man who commissioned the Terracotta Army, in order to fully understand it. At the youth age of 13, Ying Zheng, who had been born in 259 BC, took the throne of the Qin kingdom. Under his rule, the Warring States period came to an end, and a united China was born. Qin Shi Huang was a visionary and ambitious king. He established the basis for a single Chinese culture by standardizing weights, measures, and even the writing system. The unification of the 7 warring states into a single empire in 221 BC, which earned him the title Shi Huang, or First Emperor, was his most significant accomplishment. On the other hand, his reign was distinguished by both cruelty and genius. To stay in control, he used legalism, a doctrine that emphasizes stringent regulations and severe penalties. He started working on enormous undertakings, such as building the first Great Wall to keep off enemies from the north and an extensive network of highways to connect his realm. Qin Shi Huang was obsessed with immortality and looked for ways to live longer. He sent ships and alchemists on this mission. Legend has it that some of them made it as far as Japan. As a part of a grander necropolis intended to resemble his imperial palace, he created the Terracotta Army as a manifestation of his fear of dying and yearning for unending protection. Early in his reign, this mausoleum's construction got underway, employing nearly 700,000 people. According to ancient texts, the tomb itself, which has not yet been completely excavated, is an underground palace with rivers of mercury and a starry sky composed of priceless stones. The Qin dynasty began to end with the death of Qin Shi Huang in 210 BC and fell 4 years later. Nevertheless, his visionary and unifying legacy lives on in a silent army of clay that has guarded him for millennia. His remarkable rule left China radically altered, a legacy he left behind. In addition to being a historical marvel, the Terracotta Army is also a marvel of art and technology. Because of the various duties that each fighter played in the ancient Qin army, each member of this enormous legion is distinct from the others, not just in terms of face features, but also in terms of stature, attire, and even haircut. Now, let's explore these distinctions. The infantrymen are positioned for war, wearing knee-high boots and armored vests. For greater agility, the archers, both standing and kneeling, wear lighter clothing. The cavalrymen are positioned as though they're charging into battle, and they're wearing strong armor along with their horses. It's astounding how detailed everything is. You can make out the individual hair strands, as well as the creases in the tunics and the texture of the armor. This complexity raises the possibility that actual troops were used as role models. Some historians think that the artisans gave each figure a unique touch by drawing influence from the local populace. These figures weren't made of the monotone terracotta that we see now. Bright blues, reds, greens, and purples were used to paint them brilliantly, giving them an amazing sense of reality. Regretfully, after excavation, the hues quickly faded due to air exposure. This is a problem conservators still face today. Just as painstaking as the sculpting was the painting procedure. The statues were coated in multiple coats of lacquer prior to painting, an act that served to both adorn and safeguard the figures. The weapons were similarly well made. The bronze crossbows, spears, and swords were not only completely operational but also beautifully wrought, with some of them bearing inscriptions that identified the makers and the dates of construction. The distinctiveness of every figure in the Terracotta Army offers a window into ancient China, not merely a work of art. In addition to offering priceless insights on the attire, armaments, and even the ethnic diversity of that age, it depicts the heterogeneous composition of the Qin Empire's military troops. Silent in its subterranean vault, this army says volumes about the culture that gave birth to it. Not simply what is known about the Terracotta Army, but also what is still unknown continues to captivate us. With every dig, fresh information about ancient China and its first emperor is unearthed, raising new concerns. What we don't yet know answers one of the biggest riddles. Beneath a sizable mound of grass, Emperor Qin Shi Huang's primary tomb is still closed. According to ancient sources, the empire's principal canals are represented by sophisticated underground palace, complete with booby traps and rivers of streaming mercury. These old writings have been given credence by modern scientific testing that have shown extraordinarily high quantities of mercury in the soils surrounding the tomb. The opening of the tomb has been postponed, meanwhile, due to worries about protecting its contents and concerns about harmful mercury fumes. The sophisticated technology used to build the Terracotta Army is another mystery. The soldiers' bronze weaponry, which included crossbows, spears, and swords, were found amazingly undamaged and nearly corrosion-free. The preservation of this object implies the application of sophisticated metallurgy and potentially chrome plating, a method not observed in the West until the 20th century. Additionally, a few of the bronze swords have an alloy copper, tin, and other components that gives them flexibility and hardness, qualities of extremely sophisticated metalwork for the era. These weapons cast doubt on our knowledge of the artistry and metallurgy of ancient China. The organization of the army itself is questionable. Some experts think that the arrangement of the pits in relation to the cardinal directions has astrological significance. The warriors' and horses' exact positioning in relation to the stars and their alignment with them allude to a more profound, perhaps spiritual reason for their arrangement. New technology are providing additional insights into these ancient individuals as historians and archaeologists continue to investigate this location. Every discovery, from 3D scanning of the warriors to DNA research of the bones discovered at the site, puts one more piece into the puzzle of the Terracotta Army and gives us insights into a world that never ceases to enthrall and confound us. Millions of tourists visit this UNESCO World Heritage Site every year from all over the world to see the army that has been silently defending the secrets of China's first emperor for over 2,200 years. There is more to the Terracotta Army than merely an assemblage of clay sculptures. It's a reminder of the inventiveness of the past, a link to China's distant past, and the heritage of the country's first emperor. We discover more questions than answers as we work to uncover its mysteries, which serves as a constant reminder of the vast breadth of human history. We appreciate you coming along on this historical tour with us. Remember to subscribe, like, and share this video for more enlightening looks into history. Till we meet again, keep exploring.